Vitaly Zdorovetskiy, once known for gym pranks, viral stunts, and a shredded physique, has officially reached the bottom of the influencer barrel and accidentally rewrote Filipino law in the process. This isn't just another YouTuber in trouble. It's the story of how one man's clout addiction turned into international humiliation, legal disaster, and a crash course in karma, all while live streaming. Let's break down how it all fell apart. Not long ago, Vitaly was being held in a Filipino immigration facility, basically jail-like, a holding zone for foreigners about to be deported. It wasn't exactly 5 stars, but it wasn't full-blown prison either. Think of it like economy-class jail. But as of June 11th, that changed. The Bureau of Immigration officially transferred Vitaly to the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, the BJMP. In other words, hard mode unlocked. Why the switch? Local criminal charges. He's not just being deported anymore, he's now being prosecuted as a criminal under Philippine law. And until his court case finishes, he's stuck in that prison. No bail, no exit, and no backup coming to the rescue. Or so we thought. A day after this update was recorded, Vitaly actually posted bail for one of his charges, unjust vexation, basically a legal term for being a massive public nuisance. But before he could walk out, authorities transferred him right back to immigration detention. No freedom, no fresh air. He's officially labeled an undesirable foreign national. So, he's still very much locked up. But let's talk about the visual shock everyone had when new photos of him dropped. This man went from looking like a walking protein shake to a deflated balloon. The veins? Gone. The pump chest? Gone. The smug grin he wore like cologne? Now replaced by sunken cheeks and regret. Jail has changed him, physically and mentally. And it makes sense. There are no dumbbells in Filipino jails. No performance enhancers. No supplements. Just boiled rice and existential dread. With limited space, poor food, and barely any sunlight, it's no wonder his gains disappeared. People who've been in these conditions claim you're lucky if you get 2 decent meals a day, and someone with Vitaly's muscle mass? He's probably running on fumes. But here's where things get wild. Vitaly wasn't just arrested. He may have accidentally changed the law. Yes, really. Because of him and other chaotic IRL streamers, the Philippines passed new data privacy rules under NPC Circular Number 25-01. It now requires all vloggers, live streamers, and content creators to blur out bystanders in public videos. Whether you're walking through a mall, filming in the street, or doing public pranks, if people didn't give consent to be filmed, you better blur their face or risk criminal charges.
It appears that Vitaly has changed Philippine law. Yes, from the National Privacy Commission of the Philippines, saying vloggers must blur bystanders in posts under new NPC guidelines. So to explain real quick, whenever you have nuisance streamers, whenever you have these content creators, the IRL streamers, they are capturing many other people other than themselves in these videos, including vulnerable people, children, disabled people, elderly, people that they have absolutely zero permission or consent to record, and they're using him for clout, for profit, and even to mock those people that really can't defend themselves. Vloggers are now required to mask images of bystanders in their post under the new guidelines of the National Privacy Commission. NPC Circular Number 2501.
Think about that. Vitaly made such a public nuisance of himself, exploiting strangers on camera for content, that a National Privacy Commission said enough is enough. This law affects not just pranksters, but body cam users, vloggers, TikTokers, and everyone. If you film in the Philippines now, you legally need to post privacy notices before recording and explain in plain terms what you're collecting. Vitaly didn't just break the rules, he helped rewrite them. Now back to jail. The BJMP is not some influencer boot camp. It's overcrowded, underfunded, and incredibly tough. Even Filipino locals say if this happened under former President Duterte, Vitaly wouldn't be facing charges, he'd be gone. As in, off the map. That's how serious this is. Under Duterte, many believe Vitaly would have disappeared. And even under the current leadership, the message is clear. No more clout-based immunity for foreigners. Break the law, you face the same justice as anyone else. And don't think he didn't try to weasel out of this. Vitaly begged for bail, promised he wouldn't run, claimed he'd behave. But authorities took one look at his track record and said, yeah, no. They saw him for what he was, a massive flight risk with no support system. Russia? They're done with him. The Russian government literally said, don't be like this guy. That's diplomat speak for, he's not our problem. The US? They don't care either. Vitaly's a green card holder, not a citizen, and they're not lifting a finger to get involved. He's not Edward Snowden. He's not some war hero. He's just a shirtless dude with a GoPro who made a career out of being obnoxious, and now he's paying the price. But wait, it gets even more delusional. There are still fanboys online claiming Vitaly is too valuable to stay locked up, that he might be part of a prisoner exchange between Russia and the Philippines. One guy even said maybe Trump will step in because Aiden Ross and the Nelk boys are friends with him. Bro, be serious. This isn't Call of Duty. This isn't a CIA extraction. It's a public nuisance in a foreign prison, and no one is coming to save him. Not Trump, not Aiden, not Nelk, not Russia. Not even that guy he ghosted years ago who's still defending him on TikTok like a loyal golden retriever.
They're seeking to get him out of the prison because he has a Russian citizenship. He's technically a Russian citizen. However, he hasn't lived there in many years. He never paid taxes there. He just traveled there, stayed in touch with certain YouTubers, had some certain connections, but he still has a Russian citizenship. And on top of that, he's a green card holder. I don't think he has a citizenship yet in the United States, but most of his life he lived in the States. So this is like a structure of the Russian government, especially during these times when there's a war in Ukraine. What Russian government is seeking for is to get a valuable person, which Vitaly is. I mean, he's a public figure, right? Public figures are always valuable people because they have following base, they have connections with certain individuals overseas. So he's a valuable figure. That's why Russian diplomats staying in touch with the Philippine government to get him out of the prison. There might be Filipino prisoners that are currently imprisoned in Russia and might be valuable for Filipino government. So they can do the trade. They can exchange from one prison to another. Therefore, Vitaly will go back to Russia, and somebody from Russian prison who is a citizen of Philippines will go to Philippines, including the boys, because what's that guy named Aiden Ross, I believe, who are in touch with Donald Trump. These people are valuable, obviously. If you're in a shithole like Vitaly, you're gonna be doing everything you can, and I'm pretty sure she's done with it.
So, what do we learn here? This is what happens when clout becomes more important than consequences. Vitaly thought going viral meant he was untouchable, that cameras would protect him from the law, that being famous online made him powerful in real life. But guess what? The Philippines is not a playground. It's a sovereign country with real laws and real consequences. And when you treat it like a personal stage, you don't just get canceled, you get locked up. Vitaly went from YouTube pranks to a jail cell, from fame to infamy, and from flexing to fading, all because he couldn't stop chasing clout. He became the blueprint of what not to do. A walking cautionary tale for streamers who think they're bigger than the rules. So, yeah, Vitaly might have made history, but he did it from the wrong side of a prison wall. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was the bail denial fair? Do you think Russia or the US will step in eventually? Or is this just the natural end of the clout-chasing era? Hit like, subscribe for more wild updates like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, don't be like Vitaly.